Freakonomics Radio is sponsored by Adidas. Check out the latest footwear innovation from Adidas, the Adizero Adios Pro 2, which features carbon fiber energy rods that are both lightweight and precisely tuned for a more anatomical transition. Everything from the ultra-light polyester upper to the re-sculpted midsole and the reinvented outsoles are designed for speed. Visit adidas.com to learn more today.
Hey, I'm Katie Grossman, a trail and ultramarathon runner sponsored by New Balance. I'm also a creative professional, wife to my life and running partner, Dominic, and a very proud mom of 2 girls. Life has gotten a little crazy, especially after battling postpartum injury and an abdominal tumor. But running is still a huge part of my identity, and it legitimately improves my mental health. I'm working my way back to racing, but for now, I'm still finding peace on the trail. Go beyond the run at newbalance.com.
Hey, and welcome to the HA Podcast. I'm Danny Sheriff, the host of this podcast, the founder of the HA Society, and an HA recovery coach who has walked wherever you currently are. This is the place to come if you care about getting your period regularly. This podcast aims to educate, inform, and keep you motivated on your period and HA recovery track. I would love it if you could rate and review this podcast, 5 stars only, to help make this podcast easier for other women with HA to find it. And last thing, nothing from this show should be taken as medical advice. Please seek the advice of your physician. Welcome everyone back to the HA podcast. We have who is now basically a regular, Nicky Chapman. We had her on the show when she had HA. So she's like, I think you're maybe one of very few people that I've had on the show who weren't recovered yet. So we have, it's a cool like timeline. Not recovered, so that's a cool episode to listen to. And then she did sort of recover. She got pregnant straight away with no warning whatsoever. No period to come. So she's one of those unicorns. And then we're chatting today to kind of get an update, a timeline, and find out more about how things have changed in her life and in her whole life. And I think it stems more than just getting pregnant and having a period. I think she's really become quite passionate about recovery and everything that comes with it. So I'm excited to chat with her today about all things HA. Hello, Nikki.
Hi, a unicorn. That's cute.
I'm getting so good at just like talking to myself in intros. I love it. Well, Nikki's calling from Australia, so it's early for her. It's the afternoon for me. So everyone's tired for different reasons, but bear with us. Nikki, will you update us on like life, where you're at, how many weeks pregnant you are, all that stuff?
Cool. So, hi, thanks for having me back on. I'm 28 weeks on Friday now, so just hit the 3rd trimester. It's 8 a.m. here. I'm exhausted because I'm really sleep deprived. Insomnia is getting me real bad. I am almost going to have this baby now, 12 more weeks or so, which is crazy. It just feels like it's gone so quickly, especially since we've been talking.
It has gone, because really, I've probably known you then for a total of like 30 weeks or something. No, a bit more. Yeah. Maybe like 35 or 40.
Yeah. You were like one of the first people I think I told when I found out I was pregnant.
That's like really fun for me, is because girls need to like keep it a secret in a sense, right? Like, I want to surprise my partner and I have to like tell my family in a certain way, but you want to tell someone. So it's been really cool for me to be on the receiving end of a lot of people's immediate surprise, because they're just like, who can I tell? Yeah. And they'll tell me, and it's so good. Yeah, that was fun. Okay, so 27 weeks.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about, so we have like a pregnancy group inside of the HA Society, and every 6 weeks or so, we'll kind of catch up and just see how everyone's doing. And it's an interesting topic of I wouldn't say concern, but people are certainly aware that the girls in the group who got pregnant without a whole lot of recovery periods certainly consider there could be challenges postpartum with getting their period back. So what's that like for you to think about? And are you concerned? Are you just like, this is going to be fine?
Yeah, definitely. I think after that last chat that we had all together about postpartum and getting your period back, it's sort of, especially as I never had one, it's going to be a hell of a long time before I actually get one back. And I'm just going to try and do absolutely everything I can to make sure that it comes back and I get regular cycles again. But there's definitely that mental aspect of it where you're like, okay, I got pregnant, I did the thing, but there's still, those mindset things that you've got to make sure that you're on top of all the time in order not to slip back. And especially after having baby, I'm like, okay, you have to be really careful that you don't get all stressed and busy and forget to eat and blah, 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 and take care of yourself and not fall back into any of those tendencies. That's probably my main thing I'm going to be really aware of, because I think, you learn and everything like that, you grow and you get through it all, but there's always going to be those voices in the back of your head or those old habits there that you have to consistently work on. And I just know that for me is going to be something that I need to make sure I'm on top of, especially the being busy with baby and looking after her and all the rest of it,
Because you're one of those like forget to eat type people, are you?
When I'm stressed or busy, yeah. I just I'm a little grazer snacker kind of person, and I just will not forget to eat because I'll get hungry, but I'll just, if I'm busy, it's not a priority as such to me. So
yeah, you really don't get as hungry when you're busy. And I think I don't know if you ever noticed, but girls talk about feeling hungrier on their rest day or feeling hungrier on the weekend. And it's like, you just are relaxed and have the mental capacity to think about food.
yeah, isn't it funny? That used to be such a thing that would annoy me too. Like Sunday was like my rest day. I'd still be super active, but if I was super hungry, I'd be like, what the hell? Like, you don't deserve to eat heaps because you haven't even worked out. Or, I remember that being such a trigger for me when I was like back in the day. But yeah, it's so true because you're actually just resting and your body's like, oh, hi, I'm hungry.
Yeah, that's so interesting. What would you say has been the easiest part so far about so pregnancy? I think changes people's perspective a little bit on body image, and they're a lot more relaxed. And I think people outside of the HA world, there's definitely this idea of, oh, when you're pregnant, you finally get this break from diet culture, and it's like a release for them. And I think there's women who have a tendency to be in the conversation we're in right now. There's a mix. So for me, I'm 22 weeks pregnant, and there's been hard days, especially in the first trimester, of like, how much am I eating? And I'm eating too much, or I'm not eating the right things because I don't feel well. And it would be it would trigger old thought patterns. And now I'm feeling much better. The second trimester is way better. And that stuff has dissipated and my body image stuff has really improved. So that's been my kind of experience so far. But how has it been for you?
Yeah, you make a really good point. I would agree with that. The first trimester is difficult because for a few reasons, you're not showing you're quite bloated and you're feeling quite groggy and demotivated and tired and exhausted. And your body you hold a lot of water, and I think you don't look necessarily pregnant. You can't tell anyone you're pregnant. So I totally get why people, even without a history of HA or eating disorders or anything like that, would get in their heads about it. And also, you feel so sick, and so many normal foods that you'd eat make you feel so sick. I was living on Zambrero's burritos for like a week, or 2 or 3 actually. When my partner was away, and it was like all I could stomach. And you're also worried, like, oh, am I giving the baby enough nourishment or feeding it properly when this is all I want, or I don't feel like eating, or it's really, it's hard that first trimester. I think for anybody in any situation, I found it really, really tough. And then the second trimester, everyone's like, it's amazing. And it really is. You sort of feel like a whole new person.
I know. I never want it to end. And I hear that it will.
Yeah. Well, I'm like a week into my 3rd trimester. I still feel really good. So
Good.
everyone's like, it gets worse again. So we'll see.
Yeah. Cool. Well, good little reminder or heads up for girls when you do eventually get pregnant, because I know a lot of you listening, that's the goal.
Yeah.
It kind of, you just have new problems or new challenges mentally and physically. So there's some things are easier, and I think like this feeling of accomplishment and knowing and having answers, it's like, I know why I feel this way. I know why I'm eating more, and it's not just for me anymore. And that you're not questioning you don't question the process of pregnancy as much as you do the process of getting your missing period back. So there's definitely pros and cons, but that's just a little heads up for people. What I want to know from you is what you've been up to since. I know you just went through this whole journey over the last, I don't know, like year, do you think?
Yeah, probably 2019. So like, coming up year and a half to almost 2 years probably since I first lost my period until now. It's been a while. It's been a journey. So much has happened. My life is literally completely different to when I first lost my period and all the rest of it. So it's been a while.
You've been doing a lot more sharing in this space, like as you go, sharing about HA, sharing about wellness, sharing about cooking. Like, what is fueling that for you?
It started while I was studying at the time when I moved here, and when I had lost my period, I was studying to become a health coach then, and I never really knew what sort of niche I wanted to go down with it or anything like that. Through my recovery, when I started sharing how I was feeling and what I was doing and that kind of thing, it went from a passion to like, I need to do this. I need to actually help other women and help spread awareness about this. And now I've sort of decided to come out the other end with my health coaching business and help women with natural hormone balancing and HA recovery and that kind of thing. Because throughout my journey to get pregnant and recover and all the rest of it, I got really into like the holistic side of things, the mind-body connection, and also all of the ways to use food like in a way to nourish your body. So incorporating, like seed cycling and all of these sort of foods to really help build your body up and like get your body strong and healthy enough to nourish a baby, to get your period back and all the rest of it. So I've just been sharing a lot of that on my Instagram and website, and now I'm helping a few other women at the moment trying to get their periods back and get pregnant and that kind of thing. So it's sort of gone from a hobby to a career, I guess. Well, one day career, like it's just part-time at the moment.
Beginning.
But,
yeah. And are you loving it?
So much. Oh my gosh, it's so good. I love talking to women about this in general, but to actually give my clients, for example, the opportunity to just sit there and talk about all of their issues. I'm like, well, not the issues, it's probably the worst, like how they feel and what they're going through and all the rest of it. And I'm just like, I get it. I totally get it. And being able to use what I went through to help them is the best. It's so rewarding. It's so cool.
Yeah.
And then like we were saying, getting those messages, I get so many random messages. I know you do like heaps on your page, but just like, even not that are clients, but just like, oh, hey, I hardly know you, but I got my period back and I just want to say thanks for this. Or it's like, yes, like it's so cool.
I feel like there's very few other spaces. I don't know. I maybe we'd be surprised, but you know, we're not these huge name people. Like, and I really thought that gone were the days that someone without a platform who didn't like happen to go viral for something or whatever could actually like make an impact on the internet.
Yeah.
It just felt like that's really hard work. And something about, I remember when I decided to start the podcast, it was because I just realized like it's a really hard work for me to find resources on this thing. Just like and then I realized, oh, that's because you have to create it. And I just don't think there's a lot of things out there where there's still that opportunity for you to come in out of nowhere and make an impact on people. And I know that to a degree, it's still like you have to be the right person and speak to people and connect with people in a way that resonates with them. But I think that it's so cool that it's possible, and clearly the way you're sharing about things is resonating with people in a way that's really impacting their life. When you get that message from a total stranger who's like, hey, I've been following you, or I've been listening to your podcast or whatever, and they message you just to tell you that it was helpful, you're like, this is just worth it. Like, this is so fulfilling. And I didn't think that, you know, my story could impact so many other people. And it just is like, I don't know if that makes any sense. And if I was just going on a ramble, but I feel like you know what I'm talking about.
No, it totally does. People just like relating to, you know, hearing people be really raw and honest and everything about what they're going through. I think no matter who you are, like, I don't think you know, there's a few big of those big platforms out there and that kind of thing. But when you share something really vulnerable or write it like how you feel, it's going to hit somebody. And I think people just need that to see like, oh yeah, somebody else has gone through it. I'm not alone in this, no matter who it is, you know?
Yeah. And I've had that exact thought and I feel that exact way.
Yeah.
And that's validating. And there's something that happens to people when they have a moment of realizing that they're not crazy and that other people have had the exact same thought that they have had. That is so healing for people.
Yeah, it is. It's even when I read some of the girls in the HA Society who have started off their little pages now and stuff, like Elise, for example, she writes so beautifully, and I'll suddenly read one of her posts and I'm like, I get like, that is it. Yeah, you nailed it. Just, you know, like reading that just makes you feel.
So many people are coming out, and it's really, that's something I like about the society is it does appear to empower people to share. And people come in, they hadn't really shared previously. And then we're all talking together and they're like, oh, you feel that way and you feel that way and I'm not alone. Oh, I have a feeling that I could share this with the world and people would understand. And so many people, even though they're not doing what you and I are doing, which is like really trying to share and make an impact in this space, they're just like, I want to share with the people that I know closely. I'm going to share this once to my page. I'm not trying to make anything of it, but they almost always get someone respond to them saying, hey, me too. Thank you.
Yeah.
And that is how,
No, sorry, you carry on.
I was going to say, that's how word spreads about this. And that's how it starts to change. That's the only way it can start to change. So it's really fulfilling. And I feel like we're helping and it makes me feel so good.
Yeah, like putting some positivity on the internet and breaking up people's diet culture sort of shit that's all over their Instagram feeds. I like that.
Yeah.
I was just going to say it's quite therapeutic too, like writing to me, like doing some, like when I do these posts or answer questions or, you know, whatever I feel like doing is so therapeutic as well. So if you're thinking about doing it, do it for your own, like it can be really, really good when you're going through stuff or reflecting on stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of like public journaling or something in a way.
Yeah.
And you accept that you need to like really think about your words and articulate what you're trying to say. And something about sitting down and writing, how would I like to share the exact thought I'm feeling or the exact experience I'm going through? How do I want to share this with people? And you have to sit there and really articulate it. And through that process, you learn truly how you feel, because we all, but let's just talk in like the context of HAs, think that the thoughts that are happening in our head are real, right? We're like, I look in the mirror, I see myself, I feel this way about it, and it's true. But until you can sit down and write it out and try and articulate it in a way that makes sense, only then can you start to sort of see the holes in the story that you have in your mind. And you have to start, if you're trying to portray it to other people that are reading it, you start to kind of pick out the reality of what's really going on. And for some reason, we really want to bring ourselves down. We love to bring ourselves down, but we would not say or try to bring down other people. So when we're trying to share about our own experiences, we're focused on ending it on a positive note and on a way that can help other people. And that's so therapeutic for ourselves.
Yeah, it really is. It is. You make a good point there. Connor's pulled me up on that before when I've had like a bad day or a bad whatever, because you're still always going to get them. He'll be like, what would you tell a client, or what about that post you did on this? And I'm like, thanks. But he's so right. And yeah, it's a really good point.
To that point, a lot of people don't want to share yet. I get this all the time. I don't want to share yet because I'm not on the other side of it. And I actually think you didn't wait till you were on the other side of it to share. You were going through HA when you were sharing.
Yeah, because it was keeping me accountable as well. I just show it like in my stories, like I'm waking up and eating this even though I'm not hungry, because I know I should. And like stuff like that. It was good to keep me accountable. But whatever works, everybody's different. And I did it privately. Like I have still hardly any of my friends on their Instagram. I've got a completely separate one. So I only let in who I wanted to. And now I spend most of my time on their Instagram and hardly ever the other one, where like my other friends are, so you don't have to do it on your normal.
Dude, I know that's tough for me. I definitely don't share that stuff on my normal one because you get to be like a different person. Part of you gets to be like your real self.
Actually, though, yeah, like I'm so much more authentic on that page than when I look back at my other one. I've called myself out on stuff before on my normal account as well. Like when I used to post back in the day, this was like 7 years ago, I pulled up a picture of me being like, oh, I had a kale smoothie for lunch so I could have this donut this afternoon, or blah blah blah. And I look back and I'm like, well, like who is that person? And I don't really like being on my actual account sometimes, because I'm like, I don't know, I don't feel like it's as genuine as my honest one.
Yeah, they're very different. Our HA stuff's so much more positive.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's also very funny that you when you find those old posts, you're like, wow, I was more than happy to share this. But it's uncomfortable for me to share that I'm not like pursuing this perfection down this path of being diligent and restrictive. Like there's something literally so glorified about dieting and like restriction and being disciplined that we're very proud and excited to post that to the world. And then we go through this change that's literally the opposite. And it's very nerve-wracking. Like it's very nerve-wracking to just tell the world that I ate the donut and had a full lunch as well.
Yeah. And I'm not perfect. And that wasn't perfect. And that was a sad and miserable life. No.
I know. No, it's tough because people don't get it. And, you know, you don't want to necessarily be the person who has to educate everyone. Like that's such a big responsibility to put on yourself. So I really, you know, understand and appreciate why you would go and make a separate account who's like, I'm here to talk to the people that want to know about this.
Yeah.
But I'm not taking on the burden of educating people who aren't ready necessarily to hear about this, or I'm just not necessarily ready to take on their judgment.
Yeah. And people don't really, a lot of people still don't understand it or get it or want to know about it. And you can't force that kind of stuff on people, like diet culture stuff on people at all. I see it all the time with still like friends of mine and relatives of mine and my own mum and that kind of thing. But I just keep quiet because I'm like, it's, you know, they learn when they want to learn.
Yeah.
There's no point forcing all of that on people at all.
No, it's really not gonna, it's potentially going to make people more defensive and move them further away from change. Totally. So I want to know a little bit about what it's like for you working with other women now with HA. I know for me, I love working with that because I've really found this place that, like, my experiences, I can speak their language.
Yeah.
And I like everything they're telling me, I fully understand how they feel that way, why they feel that way, and why this is hard. And I think a lot of people try to seek help about HA and they're speaking to someone who doesn't fully get it. It's like, well, just, you know, do you think you could just ignore what people's opinions are of you? Or, well, maybe how about you just try and eat, you know, an extra snack? And I love actually understanding where people are coming from with their struggle. Yeah. Like, so for me, that's what's been so valuable. And I want to know what it is for you.
We are hosting an event that you are invited to. My HA coach Ashley and I are inviting you to a free 5-day workshop called Mental Hunger Mindset Mastery. What a name, I know, but it really sums up what the workshop does and is really well. A very common concern around HA recovery is, what if I can't hear my hunger cues? And there's a widespread fear of accidentally over or under eating for recovery because we don't understand our mental hunger or lack thereof hunger. And it's like mental hunger, what's that versus actual hunger? And I think this whole confusion around real hunger and the hunger that's just in my head and should I be eating this much and all of that jazz, it just really needs to be consolidated. We need to get on the same page with this. We need to feel better about it and get a plan of action. So we're going to turn it all on its head in this workshop. Over the 5 days, we're going to work with you to understand what mental hunger is and why we have it. We're going to teach you to partner with it both during and after recovery, just for life. And we're going to give you the tools and strategies that you need to listen to your hunger during the different stages and phases of both recovery and your whole life. The workshop will go over 5 days starting November 12th, and there'll be 3 live Zoom calls. Don't worry, there is a recording of every call if you miss one, and there'll be assignments for you to tackle on the days in between the live calls. So register for this free workshop now by heading to thehasociety.com/workshop or find the link in the show notes. That's thehasociety.com/workshop. Can't wait to see you in the Mental Hunger Mindset Mastery workshop.
Yeah, very similar. I think there's a massive gap. I'm not so much in the market, or like there's just a massive gap between, or a disconnect between people figure out what HA is. They know what they need to do. They know they need to eat more. They need to maybe reduce exercise and stress and blah, blah, blah. But actually implementing those behaviors and getting past the roadblocks and really getting to their why and their reasoning for getting better and recovering and that kind of thing. It's like, that's really hard stuff to do on your own. And I think, you can do it, but having that support person that actually understands and gets it and can help you and speaks your language, and isn't going to judge you, because I probably had all the same thoughts as that person has had, and being able to give advice that I actually found helpful, and strategies that I found helpful is so cool to be able to do, because it's one thing saying do this, but it's another thing actually doing it all. And I love just talking and being so passionate about it. You just don't even want to stop until you've covered everything. I feel like my 50-minute sessions go so much over and my emails go so much over, because I'm like, I just want to talk to you about this forever until you're better and recovered,
Yeah. And having the patience to do that, I think I reiterate this to people all the time, both in our community calls and on one-on-one calls. It's like, in these calls, we are going to talk about the same shit over and over again. And you're going to have the same insecurities, because it's like the same core insecurities that are causing the problem, right? So we're going to talk about them constantly, because that's what you have to do. It can't just be like, oh, hey, here's a tip for like one mindset shift and you're good to go. No, you'll have good days and bad days. And you're going to have clients who come and say, like, last week was awesome. I had this happen and I solved it using, this tool, and I felt great. And then the next week, the same thing will happen, and that tool won't work as well as it did the previous week. And so it's this, I don't know why, but I really like helping people revisit that. And I think it's because that's what I had to do. And I'm having Jake on the show soon. I know I've said this before, but he keeps pushing it back because he's so nervous to be on this show. It's hilarious. But I know he's so nervous. And
it's great to have a guy on there though, like the male perspective.
I know. And anyway, don't even remember what I was going to say, because that's what happens when you're pregnant.
Sorry.
Mid-sentence, you're just like, what?
When they go, you were saying when you have someone that's like super motivated kind of 1 week and then the next week it's
because Jake helped me with that. So and I'm sure we'll talk about it on the show. That was the point of bringing that up, was that I would tell him, I'm having the same thought that I had last week and it's stopping me from moving forward. And he would sit there and talk me through it in the best way he possibly could, to the best of his extent. And I just didn't have someone else to help me do that. And I just wish so much. And so I love also not just being a place for people to come and talk, but to know that it's safe for them to bring the exact same problem up. And we're not going to be like, we talked about this last week. Like, you should be past this. That's not the case, which can really be the case if you talk to your mom about it or something, like your mom is like sick of your shit for some reason and doesn't want to hear about it anymore. That's my favorite. I think that's really important, and people should find that person that they can just go over and over this with until finally they make progress. And you don't just like go over it, make progress, and it's never a problem again. But it might be something that, I guess, like an example of a thought is just feeling anxious about the amount of food that you ate that day, because you're eating so much and it feels scary and not intuitive. So that was something for me that I had to talk about constantly. And I would say to Jake, like, can I just talk to you about everything that I ate today? And we would just recap everything that I ate and, come to a conclusion that I'm blowing up in my head over a reasonable amount of food. And you just need to be able to do that. You need to be able to unpack that constantly.
It's too much to keep in your head sometimes, because that's probably only like one little part of it as well, you know, and you blow that up so big, and there's all these different things going on in your head, like this isn't going to work, and I don't know, the exercise component and the food component and this and that, and you change all the time, and something can trigger you. And yeah, you're right, it's just like that constant reassurance. Doesn't matter if it's the same thing over and over again. That's what you need to get there, and in time you can do it by yourself, for sure. Like
Yes.
now, like I find myself pulling myself up on those habits, and I think that's what I was talking about before, about being aware of stuff like that. You probably still have those things for quite a long time after you've recovered, but it's like you've gone through it and through it and through it, that you're more capable to be able to handle that situation on your own now.
Yes. Like the word I love that. The word recovery really only applies to like getting your period back from nothing. You mentally, it's not necessarily recovery. It's like doing a renovation or something. I don't know. And the bones are still there, but everything's working better than it was before. It's looking much nicer. It's a much more pleasant space to be in. And you have more tools and amenities and just like the ability to move past the things that used to completely stop you, like in your tracks. Now it comes up and you have gone over this a million times. You have tried on different things until you found the thing that works. And when that stops working, you've tried the next thing until you found the next thing that works. And with time, you're now like just a pro at catching yourself having these weird ass thoughts that are just not true and calling them out.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's just like calling yourself out, learning how to call yourself out, and learning how to identify that thought's not real.
Yeah. Not giving it any power anymore. Yeah, for sure.
I like that. Taking away its power. That's where it's at. And I think people get really frustrated or sorry, not frustrated. They get really focused on the bleed. But like that.
Hey, I didn't get that. Like
you don't know what that looks like.
You know what that is anymore. No, it's not that. It's so much. Yeah, it's so much more. There's so much more that you get in your life back after it as well.
Mm-hmm. What's Connor up to? Because let's talk partners for a second, because I brought Jake up in his role in helping me. And I know for you early on going through HA, he was super helpful doing surprise Uber Eats and stuff like that. So that, because you really struggled with like eating unhealthy foods, quote unquote, right? That was your thing. So where is all of that now, and how's he doing is he loving it?
Oh, so much. He's been so good. Like he really still, like, he doesn't understand all of it, but it was after I got him to write that post on my Instagram about the male perspective of things that I saw his insight, and my heart was just like, oh my God, like I'm so grateful for all of your support. And, you know, you realize it's hard on them, but you don't really realize.
And they don't realize until hindsight either. I mean, I don't know if this was your perspective, your experience with him, but when I told Jake, I want you to do this episode with me, he was just like, you know, like it wasn't that bad. Like it was fine. And then I was like, okay, what was it like? Like, what was it like to be with me? And then he would think about it. And it took him a while to realize that, you know, I would freak out at parties with him because I couldn't eat anything.
Yeah.
And and all of his friends would see, and they could tell that was a problem, and we would have to leave. And like, how are you telling me that that's not that bad?
Yeah.
That's it. They just like love us so much that they block it out.
Yeah. Well, that's just like part of you. Like Connor knew like I'd have to work out in the morning or don't talk to me until I've done that, or I'd be shitty for the day if I hadn't, you know, done whatever. And that's just, they get used to you being like that as a person. And Connor often refers to now, like we can actually go out I still love eating good food because it makes me feel good and I'm all about like that kind of thing, but it's more like just being able to go out on a Sunday now for pastries with our coffee, or like just order whatever we want on Uber Eats, and it doesn't have to be the 2 bloody restaurants that I would order from, and that was it. And he's like, there's so much more fun, like, you know, being able to do these things and not have to, and it not be such a big deal, or like I'll just eat on my own kind of thing. Like they don't realize at the time, I don't think, until the other side of it. Hey,
yeah, which I think is extremely fascinating to me, because I feel like if he was impacting my life in that way, if it was the other way around, I would have been like, you're ruining my life and I need this to change.
Yeah, exactly.
But they just accept us.
Yeah.
Who we are. Which is why you need to enroll them in recovery and let them know, like, this is going on, and I know I have these tendencies, and I need you to like pull me up if you're identifying that I'm making a decision based on fear of overeating, or like how I look or something like that. And now he's so good at that he can identify it even today when those things pop up every now and then.
It's good, and it's important to like acknowledge them a lot, I think, as well. Like I really make the time to be thankful when Connor says supportive things like that now, or like I will tell him, like, he for example is like such an, I always look at him and I'm like, you're such an intuitive eater. I love the way that you just like, he literally knows how to listen to his body and eat what he wants, like, you know, really well. He's really good at that, and I'm always like, you're so inspiring to me that you can do that so well, or thank you for doing this, or like making sure you give them a little bit of extra credit now, because like I don't know, the stuff I put him through, honestly, I don't even know why he's still around sometimes. I'm grateful now, because he's like, look what you did, look what we did, we've you know, about baby and stuff like that. So
I wonder, this just came to me, but I wonder if a part of it's like the culture that we're in, the society that we're in, that they almost expect, not like they want that of women, but they're not surprised. And it's kind of what they expect a girlfriend to be like. And so a part of having a girlfriend is her being fussy about food and caring a lot about her appearance, and that's the stereotype, and that's what they can expect to get. So they almost don't question it and settle for that kind of behavior from us.
Oh, I would agree wholeheartedly. It's just that diet culture stuff, like they get it as well. They might not feel it, they might not feed into it, but they get it hit in their face just as much, you know, with all the fitness stuff and being on social media and seeing all of that kind of thing. You're probably right. Like it just normalizes it for them. And that's definitely probably an aspect to it, why they just deal with it, hey, until they have to.
Yeah. And they see us being marketed to in that way. And so, I mean, we probably have our own biases too about how they should probably behave. And I would think like men get portrayed as being more laid back, and so I don't know, I can't think of it, but I'm sure that I have some kind of bias on men because of marketing.
Yeah.
It's like we're not just putting it on ourselves, we're putting it on them.
Yeah, to expect us to be a certain way.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, cool. I would love for them, Connor and Jake, to have a conversation.
I know, right? It'd be such a relief for them both. Yes, I've had Connor actually talk to one of my friends' partners actually before about it. But yeah, I think it would be good. There needs to be more for the guys, to be honest.
Do you feel like what have you discovered that he needed in terms of support or something like that?
Just that knowing how to, you know, you go from, like we were saying, like one day you're really good and you're really motivated, the next day it's all hell breaks loose and you're a completely different person. So knowing how to be a partner around that and dealing and knowing the right things to say, because oh my God, he tries so hard to say the right things. One day it will be the most perfect thing he could say. The next day it was like, hell no. So I think just that, like, they just don't know the language basically, and how to support as best as they can, because sometimes they're doing their best and it's not what we need. And it's really hard for them to navigate that side of things.
That's so true. They're doing their best and it's not what we need. And what we need is sometimes impossible for them. Do you know, like this situation for us can be putting our partner in an impossible situation where they just like can't say anything right. Because Jake had that exact feedback that he wanted to say when he does this show, which is like, one thing or piece of advice that he would want to give to other guys is being really good with how you word things and how you say it. Like little tiny things that just they could never ever imagine would trigger us will trigger us. Yeah. Like making a comment about the fact that I'm having seconds, or that I have extra food in my bowl. Like him just saying that would be enough for me to like put it down and freak out. And he would be like, no, like, please, no, I didn't mean it. Like I didn't mean it. But it's too late. Like it's done. And he definitely wishes that he had known and been better at that. But it's really hard on them. We're like living with us. We're so volatile at this time. It's like really emotional. It's kind of like living with someone who's struggling with a mental health issue at the time, you know,
it is definitely. It was exactly the same when you said that. That actually broke my heart, because like I remember the days that he'd be like, you haven't eaten enough, and that would trigger me, or the days that he'd be like, oh, that was a good day of eating, and that would trigger me as well.
I know, like, oh, I can just picture him being like it was a good day of eating, and it just sounds so well intentioned. And we're just like, a good day of eating?
It means I've eaten so much food and blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, literally, far out.
Wow, that's so funny.
They need to support, HA support the Society for Men, so they can jump onto these like Zoom calls and just bitch, actually. That's probably all they need.
No, I know. Someone wants us to do like a call where you bring your husband, where you bring your partner or your husband or whatever, like just whoever your partner is. And I just think it'd be so funny because it would be like pulling teeth to make them come.
Yeah.
Like,
actually, no, I reckon Con would be there with bells on. Like, he'd love it.
Oh, he sounds special. He sounds a bit like different. I don't know. Well, what has made him so interested in? Is that just his personality, or?
Yeah, it's his personality. He's like super bubbly. He's hilarious, and he's just like very supportive. And yeah, it's just like that. It's funny.
Awesome. Maybe he can host the call.
He probably will listen to this and be like, no.
Will he listen to your episode?
He listened to the first two, yeah, so he probably will. He loves it. It's really cute. I get really awkward though. I'm like, no, don't listen.
Does he talk shit about my accent being gone?
No, not at all. He talks shit about my accent all the time. Like, he probably thinks yours is nice. Like, he doesn't hate the Kiwi accent, but he always pays me out about mine. So no.
I mean, every now and then there's one word that you're just like, oh, it's wrong.
Yeah.
It's not 7, it's 7.
Yeah. Did give away.
Yes, did. Cool. Well, I appreciate you just hanging out with me and talking and just seeing where this went. I loved all of those topics, just getting support, being patient in the process, being willing and patient with yourself to go over and over the same shit, cutting your partner some slack because they have absolutely no idea what they're doing. And also just telling them, you know, as much as possible what's helpful and what's not helpful. Yeah. Sounds like a really good recap of our conversation today. Was there any little added points or messages that you wanted to tack on?
No, I think it was good. Nice casual chat about it. Just if you are looking to get pregnant as well, make sure that you take our advice about that first trimester, or reach out to us, because it's a funny one to navigate.
Yeah.
being pregnant through it all. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like being pregnant as an HAer is, I know, we need our own special group of people that understand. I cannot imagine being in a pregnancy group with people who didn't go through this for some
I've had
reason.
to remove myself from so many on Facebook.
Oh, really?
Even ones that are for HA, girls with HA.
Very interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, well, come over to our close-knit family then.
Yeah.
Where can people come and hear your message and talk to you and even learn about working with you?
Probably my Instagram, and then you can find my website and all the rest of it from there. The Wellness Antidote.
The Wellness Antidote. I'll put it all in the show notes. Go hang out with Nikki. Come hang out with me or us. We're both over in the HA Society. So that opens soon, if not right now, depending on when this episode goes out. So that's at thehasociety.com. Nikki, thank you so much for joining me today. It's a pleasure. I can't wait to have you back on. And I'll see all of you guys next time.
This episode is brought to you by Vital Proteins. I have been a collagen freak for ages, and I started off making my own bone broth because I could not find a collagen supplement that I actually liked. I started taking collagen early in my HA recovery, and no, it's not going to return you, period, but it is going to support you along the way. As I was learning about how to optimize my health and my skin and how to return my cycle, all of the things, it became apparent that in the past, I had been exclusively eating like lean meats, avoiding the fattier cuts, avoiding meat on the bone, avoiding eating enough animal protein or animal products in general. And all of those things bring important vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that are really important for fertility. And one of those things was collagen, and it's the most abundant protein in your body. And it has an important role. Like, it provides structure to your skin and it helps your blood clot. It's one of the major building blocks of your bones and your skin and your muscles and your tendons and your ligaments. It's also found in many other body parts like blood vessels and your corneas and your teeth. So you can kind of think of it like the glue that holds all of these things in our body together. When I started taking collagen and drinking bone broth and all of that good stuff, I started noticing a huge improvement in my skin and my hair and my nails. Like, that was the first thing I noticed. And that's because collagen stimulates cells that boost the production of new collagen to support healthy hair, nails, and skin, as well as boost the production of new collagen to support healthy bones and joints and muscles and tendons, which we all know is really important right now, especially if we have been missing our cycle for a bit. Making my bone broth got really tiring as much as I love it, especially in the summer. I did not want to be cooking this big pot of soup every week for hours and like dealing with this animal, this like chicken carcass, and it was all of a lot of work. So I was really excited when I finally found Vital Proteins. Today, they have a bunch of products and I love them. And I take the collagen peptide powder. So each serve of Vital Proteins, it depends, they have lots of different products, but the one I take, it has a serve of 20 grams of collagen, 100% of my daily value of vitamin C, which is an important vitamin antioxidant that can help promote the production of collagen inside of your skin, which is, really good for your skin. So it comes in a powder form, which I love because it dissolves in either hot or cold liquids, so coffees and smoothies. And I actually mix mine into my yogurt bowl each morning. So I'm having plenty of fats from that, like fats from the yogurt and carbs from all of the fruit and the goodies that I put on it, and then protein also from the dairy, but adding in the collagen just helps boost it up and get me more of what I've been missing for quite some time. So add some Vital Proteins collagen to your day. Head to vitalproteins.thehasociety.com or head to the link in the show notes and shop their whole range to find a collagen addition that works for you. If you subscribe to their mailing list, you'll get 25% off your very first order. And if you stay subscribed, you continue to receive 15% off. So it's definitely worth checking out. And they do ship internationally. Head to vitalproteins.thehasociety.com or go to the link in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening today, guys. Please subscribe to the podcast, and if you could head to iTunes specifically and leave a rating or review, that would help so much because it makes it easier for other people with HA who are Googling around to find the podcast really easily. So if you do that, you're doing a service to all of the women.
Freakonomics Radio is sponsored by Adidas. Check out the latest footwear innovation from Adidas, the Adizero Adios Pro 2, which features carbon fiber energy rods that are both lightweight and precisely tuned for a more anatomical transition. Everything from the ultra-light polyester upper to the resculpted midsole and the reinvented outsoles are designed for speed. Visit adidas.com to learn more today.
Some read self-help books, others use meditation. At New Balance, it's believed that peace can be found with a run. You're never truly prepared for adversity, but certain things serve as a guide for moving forward. Whether sprinting or running marathons, the physical and mental requirements become ingrained. Visualizing an outcome, synchronizing breath and body, pushing past pain and fatigue. Those hard-learned lessons serve as a blueprint for overcoming obstacles and achieving balance in life. Go beyond the run at newbalance.com.